People most affected by trauma are in fact children. You know, a children's worldview when they're traumatized is warped, it's disturbed. They see the world and the rest of their life as dangerous, threatening, frightening. And so the child basically does not grow up emotionally, mentally, psychologically. So the child is constant in threat and fear and danger. You'll actually find when we are exposed to threat, fear, or danger, or worse, when we are traumatized, the thinking brain shrinks. And so we're not able to think. The emotional brain basically switches off. And so when you don't have a thinking brain or an emotional brain, you have a reactive brain. And this is why when we see children who are traumatized, they're angry, they're aggressive, they're violent, and they're destructive. So recently I was working with a child, and this child breaks everything in the house, every ornament, every cup, every glass, because he's not able to say, I'm hurting, I'm in pain. All he can say to people is, I want to destroy, I want to become destructive. And that's why it's worse in children, because they end up cutting their wrists, cutting their bodies, because sometimes they feel physical pain takes away emotional pain. So children are greatly affected, but adults are also affected. But the difference is, it's easier for an adult to overcome trauma than a child, because they once had a safe place. They once knew what the world was like. They once knew that they had a peaceful life, a happy life. But the trauma has changed that. And so we help them to overcome trauma by helping them to realize that they once knew what the world was. And that's why the worldview of the child or the adult does change. Now we also have to realize in severe trauma, we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. For every one man who has post-traumatic stress disorder, there are 2 women, there are 2 children. So women and children are more affected than men who are exposed to traumatic events in their lives. The refugees coming to Serbia, one of the greatest needs for them, of course, is to move on, keep moving. And this is typical of trauma. A lot of these refugees are fleeing war and conflict and danger and threat. They're coming from war zones. They're coming from Iraq, northern Iraq, like the Yazidi. They're coming from Syria, like in Aleppo. They're coming from Kabul in Afghanistan. And many of these people, they are what we call the push factor. They are being pushed out of their countries. They're coming to Serbia. What do they need? Well, they're looking for a place to settle. And the problem is traumatized people find it very difficult to settle. While they're in Serbia, I don't know whether they'll live here for the rest of their lives. It may not be their plan. But what do they need primarily? They need to feel safe. You will find traumatized people, men, women, and particularly children, they do not feel safe. Even in a camp, they do not feel safe. They do not feel secure. Are they going to be kicked out? Are they going to be closed down? Are they going to be starved? Are they going to be pushed away? They don't know. And so the fact that when we look at SOS, one of the first things our staff do is to befriend. They become friends of these people. They smile, they support. They don't shout or push or shove. They try to befriend them. So I think one of the key needs for the refugees is to feel somehow safe, secure, and also for people to see that they have a purpose. That these people can contribute towards maybe either this economy or wherever they're going in the future. That they're people of importance. They're not refugees, they're people. And this reminds me of a story when I was working here, whereby a refugee came to me and he says, "Don't you think I smell?" And I said, "No, you don't smell." He said, "I smell. I'm dirty. I'm an Afghan. I'm a doctor. But who wants a smelly Afghan doctor?" And I said, first of all, you don't smell. Secondly, a doctor? Well, here in Serbia or Macedonia or wherever you go, we need your services. You're important. But he says, "I'm tired. I don't want to go on. I have nothing to look forward to." And I remember sitting with this guy with some of our staff. And I think the only thing I was able to give him was hope. Many refugees are too busy giving handouts. You want a cup of tea? You want some water? Can I give you a shirt? But I think what's unique about us, we're able to sit and give them hand-ups, empowering them, giving them trust, giving them hope, giving them love. You'll be amazed when I go around seeing, particularly our staff in SOS, they don't care for refugees, they love them. They honor them, they respect them. So a traumatized people who feels loved, honored and respect, they feel of value. And I think this is one of the greatest things that we're offering to these people. I train people all over the world. And when people come to a trauma healing course, they think it's about learning about the trauma of the refugee, the stress of the refugee. It's not. It's about dealing with your own stress and trauma. If you don't deal with your stress will deal with you. If you don't manage your stress will manage you. If you don't control it, it will control you. You know, it doesn't matter what's happening out there. It only matters what's happening in here. I cannot control the mind of the refugee. I cannot control the way these people think. I cannot control the way these people talk. I cannot control the way these people act. I can control the way I think. I can control the way I act. I can control the way I talk. And so what I try to do with those who work with the refugees is to become more balanced and centered and stable. To accept themselves, to love themselves, to appreciate themselves, but also to help them to understand what trauma does to us. It affects us mentally. We start thinking negatively, like the doctor. Am I not smelling? Am I not useless? You are what you think. And what you think is what you feel. Think bad, feel bad. And so working with our staff, when they come out of these courses that I teach, they think good, they feel good. And what do they bring to the refugee? The positive thought factor and the feel-good factor. And when they meet the refugees, hi, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, you're looking great today. So they bring that positivity, they bring energy, they bring empowerment, they bring dynamism. Because when you're able to let go of your own pain and stress and trauma, you become skilled in letting other people release their own pain and trauma. If you don't know what's wrong with you, no one in the world can treat you. So holistic trauma healing helps people to understand themselves. How have I been affected by stress and trauma? Cause, effect. And once you know the effect, you can heal the cause. And what's very interesting, the people I train, they go home and they bring a positive effect to their families, their children, their wives, their husbands, their workplaces, their communities, their nation. How do they do it? They identify the effect through naming it, claiming it, and taming it. I work with SOS Children's Villages International. I work in many, many countries. And one of the countries where I've spent most of my time is actually SOS Children's Village Serbia. So I'm able to compare Serbia with many other countries. And I find that Serbia is doing an incredible job regarding caring for the refugees. You know, you can look as if you're caring for the refugee. You're there, you have an office, you give a blanket and a cup of coffee, or you give some food, and you're seen to be doing things. I find SOS Serbia is doing much more than that. They care, they love, they're in solidarity. Many of the staff go well beyond their hours. They befriend. And I think SOS Serbia, also in particular, have become very professional. Their response regarding the refugee is not just haphazard or by the way. They're very structured, they're very organized, they're very good systems, they're very good structures. I would say the service delivery of SOS Serbia is not good. It's not good, it's excellent. They are doing a tremendous job. And I can say that in comparison to many other countries. They really are performing where others don't perform. They really are going into areas where other people are not going into areas. In Serbia, many agencies were here during the crisis. Good for them, but they're not there anymore. What's unique about SOS Serbia? They have never left the refugee. Where they went, we went. Where they have gone, we have gone. Wherever they are in trouble, we try to help them. When there's a need, we try to support them. When the children are suffering, we bring in the experts to help the children. When the parents are suffering psychologically, we bring in the psychologists. When there's a medical condition, we have brought the nurses. We've even delivered babies. We have our team helping to make these people in Serbia feel welcome. SOS Serbia, as far as I see, they represent Serbians. They show the love and the respect that the Serbian people can offer. And it's very interesting. This is a country that's been to war 3 times. People are traumatized in many ways, but they're also trauma-wized. Not just traumatized, they're trauma-wized. They understand trauma, and they know what traumatized people need. And I honestly believe SOS Serbia are doing a really incredible job in an incredible, difficult situation, but they're doing it at very high levels, not because it's a job, it's a service. And they do it a service with love and joy. One of the key problems when we're traumatized is we lose a sense of belief. We no longer feel safe. We no longer feel secure. We no longer feel happy. We no longer feel loved or cared for. And the problem is the refugee can infect the Serbian staff. So when the refugee does not feel secure, the staff member from Serbia may not feel secure. When the refugees are looking unhappy, our staff become unhappy. And so I help them to find something that balances them. What makes you balanced and centered and stable? For some people, they say, oh, God, faith, religion, family, friends, work, whatever. And so the message I have for SOS Serbia is to continue to remain balanced, remain centered, remain stable. Get your stress out. As a matter of fact, don't let it come in. Always look at it positively, and the positivity is from this part of the brain. We try to look at everything positively. Even when bad things happen, look at it positively. Even when you fail, let's try and succeed. Even when we're down, let's try and go up. Even when there's dark days, look at the sunshine. It's really about overcoming and not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed. And I believe we have helped many of our staff do that. The skills the SOS staff have within themselves is bringing a lot of hope to the people that they serve here in Serbia and beyond.